Hi, and welcome to the land of learning fact. Great to have you guys on board of our GRE training program. Let's take a quick peep into what GRE is all about before we begin the training program. As the title, Know Your Number, signifies that a GRE aspirant is supposed to understand the ins and outs of the paper pattern thoroughly before one begins one's journey to broaden his horizons on the foreign shores. As a matter of fact, a proper orientation on any exam is half the battle won. So here we go with what GRE is all about. GRE is the graduate record exam, which is the entrance test required to get enrolled in the universities of America and Canada to pursue the master's or the PhD programs. This is basically the online test and doesn't have any fixed test dates, but one can choose one's own test date depending upon one's thorough preparation. The GRE test has three major sections on it: the analytical writing assessment section, the verbal reasoning section, and the quantitative reasoning section. The analytical writing section, which is popularly called as the AWA section, is the very first section that one encounters on GRE, wherein one has to attempt two essays, the issue essay and the argument essay, for 30 minutes each. So this is a 1 hour section, following which one encounters either the verbal reasoning section or the quantitative reasoning section, and in all, one faces two sections of verbal and two sections of quantitative and one unscored section of either quantitative or verbal. Each of the verbal and quantitative sections has 20 questions, and the time allotted to answer these 20 questions for the verbal section is 30 minutes, whereas for the quantitative section it is 35 minutes. Let's talk about the marking range on GRE. The AWA section is on the scale of 0 to 6. The verbal and the quantitative reasoning sections are on 130 to 170 range. The AWA essays are scored on 3 marks each, and the verbal reasoning and quantitative reasoning questions, the weightage is 1 mark. All questions carry equal marks and there is no negative marking. I believe a great relief for the students. Let's talk about the types of questions on the verbal reasoning section. Well, there are 3 types of questions: the sentence equivalences, the text completions, and the reading comprehensions. The sentence equivalences are 1 blankers, and you're given 6 options, and you're supposed to select 2 correct options out of the 6 options. The text completion questions have 2 or more than 2 blanks and a maximum of 3 blanks. Each blank is given 3 different options, and you're supposed to select the correct option out of those 3 options. The reading comprehension is bifurcated into 2 categories: the long reading passages and the critical reading passages. All you have to do is to read, comprehend, and attempt the questions given. The critical reasoning passages are the short passages, but they test your reasoning and logical ability. The quantitative reasoning section has 4 different types of questions. The multiple choice questions are of 2 types, where you select a single answer as well as more than 1 answer type of questions. The numeric entry questions and quantitative comparison questions are the last category of questions that you encounter on the quantitative reasoning. Some very crucial points to bear in mind, guys, to ace your GRE score. First and foremost, remember that GRE doesn't simply test your linguistic or quantitative ability, but it also tests your reasoning and logical ability. Secondly, the questions on GRE are not adaptive, but the sections are. That is, if you perform well on section 1, your second section is going to be difficult, and vice versa. Thirdly, though it is a great respite on revised GRE that the negative marking is removed, but partially correct answers get a 0. For example, on the sentence equivalence and text completion questions, if you go wrong with just one blank or one option, you are given 0. And the other most important point to bear in mind is that the unscored section is randomly placed. So mind you guys, you have to give your best shot for every section that appears on GRE. Time management, as usual, is very crucial for every GRE student. And last but not the least, in order to have a sound preparation for GRE, take all 117 tests that are there on planetinteractive.us, our website. Hope you'll have an awesome learning experience at FACT to give an amazing kickstart to your career ahead. All the very best to you. God bless.